Good day, sir. Good day, everyone. In this video presentation, I am going to discuss about the content of HR strategies. The art behind the concept of human resource management, strategic management, and strategic HRM has an inspiring ring about it, but does anything actually happen? Process is important, but content and action are also required. In the research conducted by Armstrong and Long, 1994, it was assumed that the basis of any approach an organization used to develop and implement HR strategies would be the philosophy of influential members of the top team on managing people. The content and programs of the organizations covered by the research were examined to identify what was contained in their HR strategies and how they were implementing them. This was done under the headings of macro corporate issues such as vision and mission, organization, performance, quality and customer care, commitment, and the introduction of new technology, and the more specific HR strategy areas of resourcing, learning, development, and training, reward, and employee relations. It is important that strategies are not just about concept. The content and its implementation also needs consideration. Now let's move on to the topic philosophy on managing people. The philosophy on managing people is a broad strategic issue associated with management style, and it is one that may never be articulated and so often remains on a taken for granted basis like other manifestations of corporate culture. But to adopt a common if somewhat inadequate definition of corporate culture, strategic HRM is about the way things should be done about here in the future. Questions can be asked about the traditional or underlying philosophy, the extent to which it is still relevant, and the directions in which it might usefully change. The philosophy of the managing director of Megastores on managing people was expressed as follows. There is immense strength and talent in any body of people numbering 50,000, and we are negligent if we don't tap that resources as far as we possibly can. The contribution of our managers to added value is immense because they are people managers. They are not managing systems, they are not managing machinery, and they are not managing shops. You can manage a shop, you manage people within a shop. I have always advocated the employment of the highest caliber of people we can find, and I think we've got that. We are in the vanguard of retailing. Our net profit to sales ratio is about the highest in the high street. And in profit terms, we are growing at a faster rate than the market. The biggest challenge will be to maintain that competitive advantage, and to do that, we need to maintain and continue to attract very high caliber people. Moving on to corporate issues, we have vision and mission issues. In the broadest terms, strategic HRM is concerned with the people implications of top management's vision of the future of the organization and the mission it is there to fulfill. HR strategies, like those of all the other functions, are there to support the realization of the vision and mission of the organization and the achievement of its goals. Now, the issue in vision and mission is that the organization is unable to convey to its people its goal or what the organization wants to achieve. It is important that the people of the organization to understand the vision of the organization to function properly. Aside from the mission and vision, There is also an issue in organization which the HR needs to address, such as structure, team working, performance or quality, and customer care. The managing director of ABC Distribution has said that I do not see any difference between the HR strategy and the business strategy on organization, because we evolve our organization to reflect where the business is going. The managing director of Megastores also said, you cannot fully maximize business opportunities unless you have the proper management structure to create them. Therefore, the structure of the organization must coincide with what the organization wants to achieve. At Mercia Systems, the background to the work on team building was the demolition of traditional hierarchies over the last 2 to 3 years. In manufacturing and engineering, there are never more than 3 layers between team members and the director. In 80% of the engineering teams, there are now only 2 layers, the team manager and the engineering manager. It is believed that these changes have had far-reaching effects on flexibility and performance and have contributed significantly to the achievement of better coordination in manufacturing and engineering. The issue in team working is that if there is too many people within the team, there is a tendency that the manager will be having a hard time organizing and managing its people. A performance strategy will be based on an analysis of the critical success factors and the performance levels reached in relation to them. Steps can then be agreed to as what needs to be done to improve performance by training, development, reorganization, the development of performance management processes, some forms of business process re-engineering, or simply taking cost out of the business. This is how a cost reduction strategy works in one of the key divisions of ABC Distribution as described by the managing director. We know that over the next 3 years, we have to take more than 10 million worth of cost out of the business, so our personnel director sits down with the business head of the division and they identify the areas we need to focus on. It could be productivity enhancement, it could be changing work practices, it could be making sure that we have no anomalies around the depots in terms of payment. It could even be taking area breaks. It could even be taking tea breaks out. A 3-year strategy is agreed. Targets are set and they get on with it. Quality and customer care. Quality, which in essence means customer satisfaction, is generally recognized today as the key to the achieving of competitive advantage. Innovation and cost reduction are still important, but they are to no avail. They are to no avail if ultimately customers reject the product because it does not meet their expectations. Quality is achieved through people. And in accordance with a basic HRM principle, investment in people is a prerequisite for achieving high quality standards. A strategy for total quality is a true HRM strategy in the sense that it is owned and delivered by management. It should therefore be built into their business strategy. Moving on again to our next topic, achieving integration. In the integration of HR and business strategies is seen by some commentators as a main distinguishing features of strategic HRM. Doubts have been cast by a number of commentators such as Story on the extent to which such integration does take place, often on the grounds and that integration is not an issue when there are no corporate strategies. As the managing director of ABC Distribution pointed out, our HR strategy has to respond to our business strategy. The challenge for HR is to look at all the areas that they encompass and make sure they are integrated into the main plan. But he admitted that one of the problems this company used to have up to a few years ago was that HR strategy was seen as something completely separate from the corporate strategy. What we have tried to do in the past few years is to make them one and the same thing. What are the most characteristic features of strategic HRM in action? To summarize, the most characteristic features of strategic HRM in action in the case study organizations mentioned above were that a clear and purposeful corporate or business strategy exists. The HR strategy in most cases are fully integrated and owned by the whole of the top management team. The HR strategies are very much concerned with developing the organization and the people in it. Most, if not all, the organization could be described as unitarist in their approach. They believe in the commonality of the interest of management and employees, and they are all striving to develop a commitment-oriented culture. But in many cases, they have still taken points to involve the trade unions. And that's all for this video presentation. Thank you for watching.